it's September 14th, 1758. As you have all heard, the chaos going on at Fort Donskun has really gotten out of hand. To fully understand this new event, let's dive deeper back into the causes of this war. And here to tell us that is Emma.
I'm Emma, live on the ground from Colonies today, here to explain what led up to this terrible event at Fort Donskun. As we all should remember, the worst day of our lives began with the end of salutary neglect. The British began to take over our lives along with our rights. The British began to maintain a tighter control over the colonies and wanted to ensure a favorable trade of balance such as mercantism between us and the British. The British got greedy, as they've always done, and wanted to grow their colonies westward. The first attempt to do so was the Ohio River Valley and Mississippi River Valley, when the French began to form alliances with the Indians to dominate the fur and skin trade. All of a sudden, the British sent our favorite general, George Washington, and the British colonists to eject the French from the forts that were constructed in western Pennsylvania. However, it was unfortunately unsuccessful. Here standing to my right is Seeran, a real-life participant of the effects of salutary neglect and the current situation.
Hi, my name is Seeran, and I am a mother of 2 children, and I've been living in the colonies my whole life. At first, I realized that the colonies were really insignificant, and because we were so far away from Britain, we had a lot more solitary neglect, and we were able to make our own decisions. We were left alone to make our own decisions. But through the decades, I've realized that the colonies grew more in size and also in value. And so Britain felt that they needed to take more control in order to create this whole revenue and in order to expand the colonies so that they get more of our profits back. And this is total bonkers. I mean, this is changing the game.
And what do you think of—
Let me finish. After 1696, England began to want more resources and control over the colonies, especially with the Board of Trade, Vice Admiralty Court, Woolen Hat Act, Molasses Acts, Iron Acts. With the process of mercantilism, Britain forces us to provide revenue only to Britain and not trade with others.
As you can see, because the colonies wanted resources to create revenue, they needed to expand their colonies. Not only that, but they started to have tighter control over colonies, which ultimately led to dissatisfaction, along with going to war with France to get that land. Let's take it back to Katey so we can understand what is happening in the war right now.
Now, however, despite the British losses in this year, 1759, as we can see what happened today, the British captured Fort Donskun, Fort Ticonderoga, and Fort Louisbourg. This is the biggest victory we have seen thus yet. Oh, I just got an update. British just won control over Montreal and Quebec. This is big news to go down in history. That's it for today. Check back tomorrow for some more news as we see history go down.
A few moments later.
Hi, I'm Katie Besser, back on Colonies today. It's currently December 21st, 1763, and the war is over, and I'm here to update you on exactly how the war finished. After the defeat of the French and the Indians, the war ended with the Treaty of Paris in 1763. The first outcome is territorial changes. Britain got Canada from French and Florida from Spain. French got the Caribbean sugar islands. The real losers were the Native Americans. The French were out of the Ohio, Mississippi River Valley, and they are now stuck with us. But now the Native Americans just keep picking fights. Let's go to Kailey for some more detail.
After the end of the 7 Years' War, the Native Americans created an armed revolt. Honestly, I just don't get why they don't like us. In 1763, Ottawa War Chief leader Pontiac rallied a group of tribes into the Ohio River and attacked us. This attack is known as the Pontiac Rebellion, and basically, it convinced us that we have to maintain peace with the Native Americans and slow down settlements in Western territories. Thus, the British issued the Proclamation of 1763, and now we're going to go to colonist Seeran to hear her opinion. So Seeran, how do you feel about the Proclamation of 1763?
I hate it. I hate it because it doesn't allow us colonists to settle west of the Appalachian Mountains. Like, my husband fought in the war, in the 7 Years' War. I mean, isn't it our right to get those lands? I mean, come on now.
You heard it here first. Back to the studio.
Major outcome and reason this event is a turning point in history is because the 7 Years' War set up a path to the American Revolution. It is the war on a global scale and is the first time that Britain frustrates the colonists, especially because of the tighter control over their lives. Also, it marks the beginning of Britain's major debt and led disputes between the English and the colonists because of the differing perspectives on the war's meaning. The British want more colonial subordination and sharing of expenses, whereas the colonists feel that they have made great sacrifices and feel that they have earned the right to move into the Western lands. These ultimately led to the empirical changes in policy, especially because of the end of salutary neglect, the proclamation of 1763, and is going to lead to more complications between the British and the colonies.
Music Studio.
Now this is a story about France and England and how the 7 Years' War really began. Not in 1756, but in 54, in a colonial conflict called the French and Indian War.